Hello everyone and welcome to October 2023's Opinion Poll Tracker video. So we do one of these a month here on the Gavin Partridge YouTube channel. We go through the opinion polls that were conducted during the month before. So in this case we'll be looking at opinion polls from September 2023 and the prediction at Electoral Calculus, but is based upon those opinion polls for the next UK general election. So the general election will be at some point between now and January 2025. Can't be any later than January 2025. I would think it's unlikely we'll be trudging to the polls in the middle of January, but who knows. So I would have thought like either sort of spring, summer or autumn 2024 will be most likely for the general election. And though we're getting ever closer now to our next general election, and as I say, we're going to go through the opinion polls and look at the prediction from Electoral Calculus, and I shall get on with that in a moment. Just say if you're enjoying the content on the channel at the moment, and I say we do one of these opinion poll tracking videos every month, and we've also started adding in a look at the Ipsos MORI political monitor as well. Do that once or maybe once a month, or maybe once every couple of months. So if you're enjoying the content on the channel, then please you like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Right, well, all of that said, I reckon we are going to go and have a look at the latest prediction for the next UK general election from Electoral Calculus. So here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is it, and they are again predicting a landslide Labour majority of 186 seats, which is actually around 8 seats up on the prediction from the month before. So last month, I think they were predicting a Labour majority of around 178, and as I say, that's gone up by around 8 seats to 186, very close to the 1997 landslide result. Let's have a look then at how the numbers are stacking up. So here we go. We have a look at the party columns first of all: Conservative, Labour, Liberal Democrats, Reform, Greens, SNP, Plaid, and the others, as well as the Northern Irish parties down here. 2019 votes and seats, and then the prediction in terms of votes and seats with a margin bearer from the low end to the high end, just there. So Electoral Calculus are predicting based upon all of the opinion polls conducted during September, during September of 2023. They're predicting Conservatives on 26.8% votes, so 27% for the Conservatives. Labour on 43%, so rounded up, that would be 44%. Liberal Democrats on 11.4%, 11% for Liberal Democrats, and 6% for Reform, 6% for the Greens, 3.7% for the SNP, and 0.8% for Plaid. So on the seat score, that gives the Conservatives a central prediction of 148 seats. Labour have a central prediction of 418 seats, and the Liberal Democrats have a central prediction of 29 seats. This is a huge reversal on what happened in 2019 when the Conservatives had 365, Labour had just 203, their worst result since 1935, and the Liberal Democrats had 11 seats. So, of course, there is a margin of error within this prediction. So, at the high end, the Conservatives could be on 255. At the low end, the Conservatives could be as low as 56, which will be absolutely catastrophic result for them. Although 148 is pretty bad and would be one of the worst results they've ever had in their history, I think, actually. That's on the central prediction. Labour on 418. At the high end, they could go to 517. At the low end, they could go to 314, and remember you've got to get to 326 to have a majority of 1. So at the low end, Labour could just be short of an overall majority. Would still be able to govern either as a minority or more likely, with confidence supply or coalition type arrangement. But Liberal Democrats on central prediction of 29 seats. At the low end, they could be as low as 13. High end, they could be as high as 54. No, the Liberal Democrat percentage at 11.4 is very similar to what they had in 2019 at 11.8, and they only had 11 seats in 2019, whereas now central prediction is 29 seats. That is the result of tactical voting. Tactical voting is back after it disappeared for a few elections when Liberal Democrats formed a coalition with the Conservatives in 2010. We saw we stopped seeing tactical voting in subsequent elections, but tactical voting is back by the look of it for this election, and that of course is where Labour voters will vote tactically for the Liberal Democrats to get the Conservative MP out, or to keep the Conservative out, depending on the seat. Reform, with a central prediction of 0 seats, despite having 6% of the vote. High end, they could get 1 seat. And the Greens, again, with a central prediction of 1 seat. At the low end, they could get 1 seat. At the high end, they might get a couple of seats. SNP with a central prediction of 32 seats. At the high end, they could get 46. At the low end, they could get 12. And Plaid with 4 seats, central prediction, 5 up high end and 3 at the low end. And of course, got the Northern Irish parties down here, and that gives Labour with a central prediction of 186 seat majority, based on opinion polls conducted during September 2023. And these are those opinion polls. So we can see what happened with these polls. We begin with the very first poll, which is Savanta. That was conducted between the 1st and the 3rd of September. Gave Labour a 16% lead. You will notice that it is a sea of red. So from top to bottom, every poll in September had Labour with a lead. The only difference is the extensive lead. So we have got some plus 20% leads again for Labour. We see, for example, Techney from the 6th to 7th of September, they gave Labour a 21% lead. With 46% of the vote to Labour, 25%, just 25% to the Conservatives. We also see here with Ipsos, one of our oldest pollsters, about the oldest pollster, they had the Conservatives down just 24% of the vote in September, whereas Labour were on 44% of the vote, and so that gave Labour a 20% lead. We've got DeltaPoll here. This is the biggest Labour lead, I think, last month. DeltaPoll from the 11th to 15th of September gave Labour 47% of the vote. Conservatives down just 23% with that poll. And that gives Labour a 24% lead. That is the biggest lead that we saw for Labour last month in September. Not all polls have absolutely massive leads. So we've got Opinium, for example, here, give Labour a 15% lead. That's pretty big, you know, but not like 20 plus. So Labour on 41% of the vote. Conservatives on 26% of the vote. Most of the polls, you'll notice, did have the Conservatives under 30%, although we see this one poll just here, which is Savanta, from the 22nd to 24th of September. They did get the Conservatives to 30% of the vote in September. Labour on 44%, which was a 14% Labour lead. And the smallest Labour lead was actually towards the end of the month. Again, it's Opinion. They tend to have smaller Labour leads overall, though, compared to all other pollsters. But from the 27th, 29th of September, they found Labour under 40%. Actually, that's the first time Labour's been under 40% for quite some time. They're on 39% of the vote there. Conservatives on 29%, which is a 10% Labour lead. That's pretty decent, you know, it's not too bad at all, but it is significantly lower than most of the polls, especially the polls conducted earlier on in the month. It's possible that there is a slight decrease in the Labour lead as September goes along. So the 20 or 20 plus percentage leads, all these down here are in the first half of the month. Then the second half of the month, more into the teens. And as I say, we got that poll because there was Labour on 10%. Although, having said that, the final poll of the month, which is We Think, don't know much about them, but they gave Labour a 20% lead, Conservatives 27%, Labour 47% of the vote, so a very large lead indeed for Labour on most polls during September. This is the overall opinion polling graph from Wikipedia, so we can see that Labour is maintaining their very large lead over the Conservatives. We can see what's happened from the beginning of the Parliament when the Conservatives actually had a larger lead over Labour to crossover, which occurred during the autumn of 2021 during the beginning of the Partygate episode. And then the last sort of few months of Boris Johnson's premiership saw Labour with a solid sort of 10%-ish type lead, sort of 5-10% on most polls. Boris goes, Liz Truss comes in, and we see that the Conservatives absolutely crash just there. Labour soars off into the stratosphere up there, and then Liz Truss is replaced by Rishi Sunak, and we find that the Conservative, the Labour lead over the Conservatives comes down from what it was during Liz's very, very short premiership when Liz is massive. So the Labour lead does come down a little bit, but remains very large and solid, really, from sort of this time last year all the way through to where we currently are. So there's, Labour's roughly got like a 15 to 20% lead over the Conservatives on most polls, and you can see that the trends aren't really moving much. The thick red line is the Labour trend line, the thick blue line is the Conservative trend line, and everything looking very stable, very static. Really, possibly a little bit of a tick up occurring for Conservatives right now, which we'll cover in next month's tracker video. But at the same time, Labour's trend line ticks up a little bit as well. So it looks like both Conservatives and Labour are very static, and the Conservatives are roughly in the upper 20s, and Labour are somewhere in the mid-40s, really. Other parties, they're looking quite static as well. So Liberal Democrats, they're trending down here. We have seen a decline in SNP support, which you can't really make out right on the very bottom of the chart, but there is a bit of a decline that's happened there over the past few months, and Greens and Reform looking quite stable as well. In terms of government approval, the government continues to be extremely unpopular, so this is something that we've seen covered in our tracker videos a lot over the past year or two. This is from YouGov showing their tracker for government approval. At the moment, on the latest YouGov poll, 65% are disapproving of the government, 15% are approving of the government, and 19% don't know. So the numbers of people approving of the government are actually under the people that don't know whether they approve of or disapprove of the government. And that's always, as I say, that's always a really bad sign whenever a government's approval is under the people that don't know whether they approve or not. That's always a bad sign. So yes, we saw that the government became increasingly unpopular from around here onwards, which is around the middle of 2021. We see government disapproval just rising and rising and rising. Actually, it reached its nadir around just after the Liz Truss premiership, 17th of October 2022. YouGov found 77% of the electorate disapproving of the government and just 8% approving. So there has been a slight narrowing between approval and disapproval since last year, but nevertheless still very, very unpopular. 65% on the latest poll are disapproving of the government, and 15% are approving of the government. So yes, the government of Rishi Sunak and the Conservative Party remains mired in general great unpopularity. So coming back to the prediction for October 2023, based on all the opinion polls conducted during September 2023, Electoral Calculus are forecasting that Labour will have a landslide majority at the next general election of 186 seats. And of course, we will do another tracker video for you next month, where we will go through the opinion polls during October, and we'll see what the prediction is coming out like then. I'm still expecting we will see a degree of swing back. I covered this in last month's opinion poll tracker video, so I think we will see some swing back from Labour to Conservatives as we get closer to the general election. So I'm expecting that the prediction will narrow, you know, in terms of the size of the win for Labour. However, as I explained last month, I think the gap got so large really around this time last year that even accounting for a degree of swing back, which usually occurs to the government in the final months of the parliament, even accounting for that, I think it's very, very unlikely that the Conservatives could win the next election. I think it's very, very likely we will be changing the government, but election 24 will be a change election. But we shall see. I could be wrong on that prediction, and we'll see how the polls go over the next few months. Of course, right, if you enjoyed this opinion poll tracking video, please do you like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos here on the channel. What do you think is going to happen at the next election? Is it going to be a Labour landslide? Would it be a smaller victory for Labour? Could the Conservatives force a hung parliament? And what do you think the election will be? I've got a feeling it will probably be in October next year. I do know, but actually Thursday, the 17th of October 2024 is a possibility. Though I might be getting an election on my birthday. That would be that'd be an interesting birthday. Wouldn't it want to remember? I don't know if it'll be then, but I think the most likely scenario is that the election will be in the autumn anyway, and I would say October is the most likely month of the three. But we shall see. It might be before that. Possibly Rishi could hang on till like the depths of winter 24-25 to call the election. Personally, I wouldn't want to do that, but you know, every month counts, I suppose, when you're Prime Minister and you're facing being voted out. So we'll see. Anyway, let me know in the comments when you think the election will be and what you think the result will be, and we'll see how things are looking next month when we do November's tracker video. For this one, though, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.